It is time to unveil the Week 6 edition of the JP poll. Not rankings, but ratings. So these are not rankings. That we do Thursday night. And it's starting to make a lot more sense to people because I noticed as the dust settled on Saturday, I opened my DMs, and it's never a good idea, but you know what, I'm not gonna lie. I interact with a bunch of you via DM every day. But I opened my DMs, and you know what I found, Jesse? I found a lot of people congratulating us. And I said, why? And they said, well, I noticed that you had LSU low already, and now it looks like you were proven right. Noticed you never really dropped Bama far, and they beat Georgia. Looks like you were right. Florida State. That was Friday night. We didn't have Florida State any higher than, I think, 14th or something like that. They lost. Now, why is that important? It's important because the JP poll is predictive, and it is built just to compare teams who would be favored against who on a neutral field. And now there's some results already this year, like Florida State over Bama in Week 1, that when Florida State did not jump Bama in the JP poll, it got a lot of people upset because they didn't understand the concept of neutral field favorability. You remember, a couple of weeks ago, I hit up FanDuel just so they could back us up on it, and I had them confirm. This was in Week 2, right after Florida State smoked Alabama. And they said if the game happened again today on a neutral field, Bama would be an 8.5-point favorite. So we were right. There wasn't even a matter of opinion, and people were still arguing with us. Well, now that we've gotten a few more weeks down the road, you've started to see some of the results happen that backed up what the JP poll had, and that included last week. Like, we even disagreed with Vegas last week because we had Ole Miss already ahead of LSU by a pretty wide margin. But we thought Ole Miss was already better than LSU. We've been dropping LSU steadily 2 weeks through 3 weeks in a row, I think. The model has, because it picked up on the flaws. Okay, so I just used that as the backdrop because we were accused of things like clickbaiting, you know, for committing the sin of not having teams where some people thought they should be. Well, the results are kind of backing up the model a lot more than the claims of clickbaiting. Plus, I don't know what I want you to click on. Maybe the video. I don't know. Anyway, here we go. Number 20 this week, Michigan. We got Vandy at 19. Remember, these are not rankings. I would have Vandy ranked much higher. I consider Vandy and Bama possibly a top 10 matchup. We got to see where Bama's ranked Thursday in the commissioner's poll. Utah is number 18. They're up 4 spots. Florida State's at 17. LSU is at 16. Notice LSU didn't drop. I think they dropped 1 spot. Florida State dropped 1 spot. We already had them in the right place, so we didn't have to adjust them. We got pretty much the performance levels that we thought we would get from LSU and from FSU, so we didn't have to move them a whole lot. We were ahead of the curve on them. That's good. That's what we're trying to do. It's predictive. Missouri's at 15. Tennessee is at 14. And Tennessee, they dropped 3 spots, but they didn't really drop. We didn't downgrade them. It's just some teams moved ahead of them because we got the performance we thought we'd get from Tennessee too. Well, Mississippi State was one of our favorite bets of the week, remember. So we thought it would be a close game. The model thought it would be a close game. Therefore, when it was a close game, it got what it expected. That means it has no reason to adjust the power rating for Tennessee. We got Texas Tech 13, Texas A&M 12, and Indiana at number 11. By the way, with Texas Tech, there is now a 3.5-point gap between them and Utah at number 18. And I mentioned Utah because that's the next closest Big 12 team. So a little bit of a gap forming atop a usually very compacted conference. Hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year-round, and we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. Let's go top 10, Bradley. OU is at number 10. Miami is at 9. Notice, JP poll, still just a little bit lower on Miami than the rankings would be. They're still holding off a little bit. I know a lot of you find it shocking, for example. Texas is at 8. Penn State's at 7. A lot of you find it shocking. Penn State would still be favored against Miami. I don't know what to tell you. They would, at least according to the model. Ole Miss is at number 6. We got a lot of pushback last week when we already had Ole Miss top 10. Now everyone does. We got them at number 6. Penn State at number 7 also is the classic situation of it not being a ranking. I didn't have Penn State at number 7 in my rankings last week. I already had them down at number 10 last week before they got beat by Oregon. So definitely power ratings wise, the model is going to be higher on Penn State than a ranking. Penn State has no business being top 10 in any ranking right now. But there aren't many teams that would just straight up be favored against them on a neutral field. So you're not going to drop them too far. Penn State, I don't know how they didn't really drop all that far at all. Number 6 is Ole Miss, like I said. All right, 5-1. Notre Dame at 5, Georgia at 4, Bama at 3. They're still right there next to each other. Oregon is 2. Ohio State, number 1. There is a 3-point gap between Ohio State and Oregon right now. I don't know that I buy that, but hey, whatever. They're not going to play for at least another couple of months if they do play. There is a 10-point gap between number 2 and number 18. So still some very, very unprecedented compactedness at the top of the field. But yeah, Ohio State has opened up as big a gap between number 1 and the rest of the field as we've seen all year. It's a 3-point gap. So that could change week to week. And I also do want to note, they beat Washington last week. Really good win on the road, shut them down. Our model has Washington in like the 40s. I don't know what that means. It may mean nothing. Ohio State did win convincingly. But just as we continue to choose how much stock to put in wins, I'm just keeping that in mind. There's not really a whole lot of opportunities for Ohio State to get exposed, even if they do have vulnerability, and they may not have a lot. Like, really good coaching job going on right now in Columbus, Ohio.